Today we're going to be talking about the Los Olivos, which is a really delicious coffee that we just got from Peru. So let's jump into it here. So this coffee comes to us from Peru, and the region is Amazonas, which is exactly what it sounds like. It actually hosts a lot of the Amazon rainforest. We think about Brazil when we think of the Amazon, but a lot of it is also in Peru. And Peru has really great volcanic soil, high altitude, so they produce really, really fantastic coffee. And this coffee was grown around the town of Los Olivos. So the kind of farmers in that area, not every coffee is grown on a large coffee plantation. In Ethiopia or in Indonesia, certain countries, just depending how the coffee grows and how the country structures its industry, you get sometimes just kind of these garden market, kind of garden farmers also. So this coffee is kind of in that category, but just because it's not a farm-specific coffee doesn't mean it's not lights out high quality. It's got varieties, Caturra, it's got Bourbon, it's got Pache in there. And all this coffee is organically grown, which is really cool too. And it's a wash process, so it's going to kind of give it a nice crisp acidity. So what I really love about this coffee is the body. This coffee has a really nice kind of sweet, velvety body. It's juicy, and it's got a pretty heavy mouthfeel to it. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have a nice amount of acidity too. So this coffee kind of is pretty high on both the body and the acidity. But the acid seems to take the backseat a little bit. And that really results in a nice balanced cup of coffee. What I love the most about this is kind of how the body, it pairs up with the clover honey and the spiced chocolate notes. Really delicious on that kind of sweet front. So as a result, I think this coffee is going to be pretty agreeable for most coffee drinkers. On the acid side, it kind of has those stone fruit notes to it. So we've got apricot on there. Peach, nectarine, some of that kind of stuff is in that stone fruit category. And that pairs really, really nicely with the body on this coffee. It balances out perfectly, and it creates a really unique experience that is, it's interesting. It's not boring, as a person who likes kind of exotic coffees, but it's not so demanding of your attention that you can't just drink it if you're studying or whatever. So it's really truly one of those really balanced coffees that is not boring, but it's still just agreeable and drinkable. It has also some notes of ginger tea, a little bit of black tea, and that comes out as very faint. It's on the finish, but it does kind of add a layer of complexity to this coffee that makes it a little more exciting and interesting, probably to more kind of coffee aficionado types than if it were not there. It's that kind of really subtle complexity in this coffee that really, really makes it interesting. And it does have, it tastes like coffee. Once again, it's going to be a pretty middle of the road coffee, but it's one of those ones where you kind of scratch under the surface a little bit and you get a lot of really interesting stuff going on. And we roasted, it's kind of middle of the road. This coffee has a lot of sweetness to it, so I wanted to develop those sugars well in the roast, but not lose too much of its acidic identity. So it's kind of riding that line, right in that kind of middle of the road, medium roast, sugars browning kind of phase. And it has enough acidity to kind of keep its identity through that. And it's really tasty. It's going to be great in an air pot. It's also going to make a really good pour over. So we hope you guys love it. It's in the catalog, and let us know what you think. Take care.